Hi, I'm Jeremy Crosby.
And I'm Nick Boucher. We're your hosts for the program that's all about your city, Talking Fitchburg.
We pull together the news, events, and information you need to stay on top of what's happening in the city of Fitchburg.
This is your city.
Keep up with Talking Fitchburg and the issues affecting you and your neighbors.
Want to know what's happening in your city? Get Notify Me messages from the City of Fitchburg. Visit fitchburgwi.gov on your computer or mobile device and select the big Notify Me button on the left. Enter your email and/or phone number, whichever is best for you to get notifications. Scroll down the list and select all the topics you're interested in to receive email or text messages about. You'll be notified every time one of your topics is updated. Sign up for Notify Me, one more way to keep up with your Fitchburg government.
Okay, we will call the meeting to order at 5:37 or so. Any public appearances? I don't believe so. And then approval of minutes from last meeting. Can I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, John. Any questions, corrections, adjustments? Nope. Okay. Call for a vote of approval. All in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. Financial report.
All right, let's have a motion to approve.
Oh, sorry. Motion to approve the April financial report in the financial overview.
So moved.
Thank you.
All right, I'll go over just a few things. Salaries and wages all were fairly normal. We finally had just sort of a normal two-pay period month, so that was good. If you look at account 325, we've got some expenses from the Public Libraries Association conference. Those are going to be reimbursements to staff for out-of-pocket costs. Wanted to point out in account 340, which is library supplies, we've got supplies for both a staff training and a staff in-service. So we had both of those things. We had training for the new ILS system. We were closed today for that, so we provided snacks and lunch. Did we do lunch that day? I can't remember. And then we, on the second page, you'll see we did in-service. So that was not long after that, but we did have another day where we had lunch and needed supplies. We'll also point out, this is very apt that Tegan's here for this, because in account 387, which is our collections, because the our system was down, we had to stop ordering materials. We had no acquisition system. We couldn't add them to the catalog. So this is the first of 3 months you're going to see that are very low expenditures. I'm a little concerned that this went on longer than we expected and that we may struggle to spend the entire collection account this year. So I'm going to reach out both to Dane County to make sure, because we really only spend the bare minimum we need to spend to meet our county standard. So I don't want to get dinged for that if we were not able to spend it because of the system, but also with Missy Dodge, the finance director, to see if it comes down to that we can't spend it by the end of the year, can we roll some of it over to next year? So just, I don't know that we'll need any of that, hopefully. Oh. You're ringing. I don't know that we'll need to do any of that, but I would like to have that in place just in case. Because we are back to ordering right now. Yes. But it has been almost 3 months, so that's why that looks a little bit weird. In the overview, for revenue, just wanted to point out something that I just caught today. So I'm working on the budget for next year. It's not ready for your eyes yet, but the copy fees that we've been bringing in seem very low to me for being halfway through the year. And so I did some digging into our accounts, and it turns out that all the money coming in through the coin towers, which I would say is probably 90% of what we take in for copies, if not more, has been going into the donations account. So it's just in the wrong place. It will be moved, and we will be more on track. Donations don't look very high on this one, but that is also because the Friends, all the money from the Friends came in, their annual giving came in June, so that's just not reflected yet. So it's going to work out in the end, but it's just a little rocky getting there. Otherwise, I think everything looks as I would expect it to. Any questions on either document?
Just to make sure I'm clear, Wendy, the issue you were talking about before with collection spending,
Yes.
it's not that the money was spent and not allocated, it just wasn't able to be spent. So it's not like we're getting dinged for doing what we wanted,
Right,
but
right.
it just didn't
We
count.
were told by South Central that we had to stop ordering because we couldn't put things into the catalog.
Okay.
So, yeah, and now we're ordering like crazy. So we're going to just feel like we usually see some ups and downs at account, but it's going to be real up and down for the rest of the year.
Perfect. I just wanted to make sure I was clear on
Yeah.
that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Anything else? Questions about the financial statement or overview? All right, call for a vote to approve. All in favor, say aye.
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 And then next, unfinished business. I do not believe we have anything carrying over.
We do not.
And then new business.
All right, so with these, we're going to want to go policy by policy, and we'll want to have a motion to pass, to approve before we
Okay, so
discuss.
motion initially for the collection management policy, Wendy?
Is that our first one?
Or the
Yes.
all technical services?
No, so we'll do 6A1,
Okay.
collection management policy.
Collection management policy, so a motion to approve the collection management policy. Anyone?
I make a motion.
Thank you.
All right, so Tegan's going to walk us through this one.
Yeah. So we didn't make many changes this year. We had kind of revamped the last few years, so there wasn't a whole lot needed changing, but we did add a section for artificial intelligence, AI. There was a lot of more material being produced and kind of slipping in, so we wanted to make sure we address that. So what we added was that selectors will seek to avoid adding works generated entirely by artificial intelligence to the library's collection. And then publications that are assisted will be held to the same standards as a selection of all other materials.
Yeah, I think there are libraries that are doing entire policies around artificial intelligence. I don't feel like we feel like we're there yet, but I think there's the potential for this to grow over the years, but I think this is a good place to start. I don't know if you're all aware, but there has been a controversy in the publishing world. There have been a couple of novels that were published and did well, and then were taken back by the publishers because it was discovered that they were AI generated.
Further criteria that can be used?
Yes, it's an ever-changing, I think, field. I think it's there's not one standard set. I think we know what to look for, but we are learning just along with everybody else as this kind of progresses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to that point then, if it's found that we did purchase something unknowingly that did turn out, we bought that novel and it did turn out to be AI generated or AI assisted, do we then plan to remove that from the collection or put a big stamp on the inside cover that says this is AI, or what would our next step be?
I think it might depend on the specific circumstance. So I'm guessing if a publisher unpublishes is not a word, I know that, but if a publisher decides to take it off the shelf, my guess is that we would try to get a refund for it.
Yeah.
And if we do that, then probably they're asking us to throw it out. But it hasn't happened enough to know kind of how it's going to go down. So we'll have to make those decisions as it happens, and then I think we would update this in future years based on what we've seen.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then one other thought here. Does the way that this is written prohibit or perhaps tie our hands if we wanted to specifically add an AI generated or assisted publication to the collection for demonstration purposes of this is what AI is capable of. I don't know that we'd want to do that, but if for whatever reason it was an educational opportunity to say
I
this
see what you're
this
saying.
book is AI, and
I
to
think
show
if
what
we
looks
did
like.
that, we would not add it to the collection, we would have it here for review. So I don't think this does, but that's something that we should keep in mind over the next year to see if that happens. If it was assisted, we could add it, because we're saying we would use our other criteria. If it was completely AI, I think we would have to have it in a big red jacket that said,
Behind the desk or
we don't
something.
approve. Right, exactly. Like, look at this, isn't this terrible? But that is something that we should think about going forward, see how it goes with this.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, all good questions. Like, this is a very new area that none of us are super excited about navigating.
But we live with it every day.
Yeah, right.
So, any other questions or comments about the collection management policy?
I just have another question about the AI portion.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that 2 novels were popular and were completely AI generated and then pulled from the shelves. So is the plan to go through and kind of review the titles that are not familiar, the authors are not familiar to librarians, or kind of what's your
I don't know that we've got the
thought?
capacity to do that. I think what we'll do is keep an eye on sort of the library community. There are people that are real on top of this, so I think we need to figure out who that is and follow them, follow their lead. I'm sure that the professional journals will be paying attention to this, so I think that's where we would get our information. I don't think we've got the capacity to start going through our collection and kind of spot checking.
Yeah, I was just
So
going to say, if
along
we're
the
following
same
our
line-
selection policy as it is, that will help
Yeah.
prevent some of that
Yeah.
sneaking in.
Yeah. Along the same line of Rachel's question, I was wondering if the wording in the policy could say something about, should the work of AI been discovered or reported to the library in later or somehow, because we couldn't know, right? There's just so many.
And I think
That it would be considered or somehow review or something.
I think that would go under weeding. Because what we're talking about is collecting, so we're talking about
Okay.
knowing ahead of time, which is not really how this is happening right now, but I assume eventually will
Okay.
be. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I was going to say too, if someone suspects something that maybe we missed, they could always fill out the request
Yeah.
for consideration form.
Yes.
And then we could review it.
Right.
Yes, we
Right.
do have an option for,
And then essentially we would be deselecting it, which we are, I think, covered with deselecting what we want to from our own collection. So I think we're covered.
anything else?
Sorry, I just have another
Yeah,
question.
that's fine.
So, so if someone came in and said that they were pro AI, are we taking a stance then that we're anti AI in the terms of the publishing part of it? Or is this just saying that we as the collection development does not want any AI produced things in our collection?
I think we're
and
making
that's
the
a bad
distinction between something that is completely AI generated and AI assisted. So I think we're sort of straddling that in that, like, if it is just AI and a human did not have a part of this, that we're not interested in it. I think, which I think is currently the stance that I would take. I think we're more open to talking about the assistance of AI, but not letting it take over kind of the publishing industry, if that makes sense. This is all very new, so I don't feel like we've got, right? Like this is all stuff that we need to be thinking about.
Well, this has got to be a problem
Yeah, I
for,
feel like I need to ponder on that.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I think this has got to be a problem for the major publishing houses too.
Yes, absolutely is.
As manuscripts come in,
Yes,
how do they identify?
right. I mean, and the whole education system, right?
Oh,
Like, I think this is, every teacher in the world is dealing with this right now. How do you figure out who's turned in essays and papers that are AI? And I know there's a lot of AI, there's software out there that's supposed to help you spot AI. That's not something that we're in a position to need to use, but yeah. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. It really will. I wish it wasn't something we were dealing with.
Anything else? And we'll call for approval of the collection management policy. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
I
And then we will ask for a motion for the reconsideration form, which is a review of a form
make
that
the
has been
motion.
around. Thank you, Rachel.
Okay. All right. And for this one, we did not have any changes. The last couple years, we had kind of added quite a bit more, so it felt like this year didn't need any adjustments.
How many of these requests does the library receive?
Since I've been here, since we've been open, we've had 2.
2.
And they were both for things that really needed to be taken out of the collection. I kind of love to tell this story, so we had one that was it was a kid's book, like a middle reader book about eating disorders that was really dated and used some terms and I think graphics that were not great. And a parent pointed it out to us, and we were happy to remove it and find something better. And then we had a Tom and Jerry DVD that someone said they felt was insensitive, and they were correct. On the cover of it, Tom, the cat, is wearing an Indian headdress that is insensitive. And so we have a million Tom and Jerry's, and we just took that one out. So it's been very useful for us. I know what people assume is that people want to take banned stuff and take it off the shelf, and that does happen. It has not happened to us yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for the viewing public at home,
Yes.
We have a procedure in place so that somebody can't come in from out of the city and fill out
Yes.
400.
Yep.
They have to document specifically what.
You have to be a Fitchburg resident. It's one at a time. I should let Tegan know.
Oh, yeah. You have to read or view it in its entirety, and then we also have kind of what you object to it, and then also what you'd like us to do with that, and some other kind of book report.
You can do one at a time. Yeah, it is really a book report. Like, we really want to know that you've read the whole thing, and you're not just doing this because somebody told you that you should do it.
Yeah.
Yep, and one at a time, and it will stay on the shelf until a decision is made. And then, the board should know this, so it goes to the staff do research to see whether they agree or not. If the patron doesn't agree with that, it comes to me, and then if the patron doesn't agree with that, it comes to the board. So you're sort of the final deciders if it gets that far.
And then would that person come to the board meeting then to
Yep.
present his or her
Yes,
case?
and we would have all sorts of conversations
Yeah.
about getting prepared for
Good.
that. Yes.
All right. Anything else on the reconsideration policy? Then we will ask for a vote of approval. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
I
Thank you. And then to the photocopy and copyright policy, a motion to review that.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Rachel.
Right, so we just have the photocopy and copyright policy. Again, we haven't made any changes. That's basically stating the copyright law, and that we have that notices throughout the library so that people cannot make copies of things in their entirety. So.
It might be the most boring policy we
Yes.
have.
Well, to liven it up a little bit, is there something we need to consider adding here about artificial intelligence?
I don't think so, because I think it would fall under what everything else falls under. So you shouldn't steal AI. That sounds ridiculous. You shouldn't steal AI either.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking of, like, you shouldn't take your Tom and Jerry DVD and play it in your computer and then record it and then upload it to ChatGPT.
Right, which is included, would be included in here.
Because it's already protected by
Right,
copyright law.
right.
Okay.
Yes, yep. Yeah.
Okay?
You really have to think.
The rabbit holes.
Yes,
Down.
absolutely, yeah.
Other comments or questions about the photocopy and copyright policy? We'll ask for a vote of approval. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you. Next on the agenda then is the President's report, which is blank. So we'll move to the Alder report, which is,
I will keep it very short because our meeting that we had scheduled yesterday was canceled. We always cancel the first one in July. Our next meeting will be discussing at one of many things on the agenda, we'll be discussing any Alder amendments to the capital improvement plan that we talked about and had a public hearing for at our previous council meeting at the end of June. I do not have the list of amendments at this point. I don't imagine there will be any library related. I didn't put any in that were library related.
I didn't see any.
So fantastic.
Yep.
So there won't be a ton related to the library to discuss there. We went through in our last meeting here some of the projects that are in the CIP related to the library. I want to say there was 2 new ones and 4 total.
Yes, correct.
So, other than that, I think that's really the most pressing items for this body. And I can also just share that I was able to go to Books and Brews and had a wonderful time. So thanks for having me,
That was good.
despite my trivia loss.
thank you, Logan. Then we'll go to the director report. And before we start with the items there, can you give us just a brief update on what impact, if any, the closed Research Road here is?
It's really irritating, but believe it or not really affecting our attendance.
Okay.
So I can't explain that. I checked the people counter before I came into this meeting, and we were over 500 for the day. So numbers have been very high all summer, and people do not seem to be deterred.
And how much longer do we have an idea? Okay.
Longer than I would like. I think one of the things in my report is we have Touch a Truck coming up, which is one of our biggest programs, and is July 28th, and we had thought that would be done, and it will not be done. So we are talking about how to maneuver things in the parking lots around the city campus to make that work. So
Okay.
I imagine people will still come to it because they're still coming to everything else. So, yeah.
Okay, so library director report, the June statistics.
Yes. So statistics, I don't know that anybody's even going to notice this, but South Central did update, I think, April, May, and June checkout numbers based on, I think, finally getting comfortable with the new ILS. They did not change very much. I think they went down a smidge. Not enough, really, for me to notice it. We still don't have hold information, as you can see there, which I don't understand and we'll be asking some questions about. I feel like that's a real standard number, and I'm not quite sure why they're having trouble with that one. I would point out that youth programs and attendees are way up, which is expected in June. It's our biggest month of the year, but we're over 2,000 for attendees to youth programs. Outreach is going well. I think outreach has dropped off a little bit after the 4th of July, which is typically what we see. And it's just been so hot. So poor people are just out there just melting, but sticking it out. Otherwise, I don't think there's anything else in statistics. So I will move along to facilities, and I don't have anything, knock on wood, for facilities this month. Personnel, we have a new LA1 starting on August the 3rd, and we had a resignation from a shelver, so we'll be opening that up to hire one shelver. We have not hired a shelver since September of last year, which is maybe the longest we've ever gone. We've had a really solid crew of shelvers. It's been fantastic. So we're losing one. We can manage that, and we'll fill that position hopefully by the end of the summer. Strategic planning, I have no update. I will say we did have graphics at Books and Brews that Bachman Design Group provided for us, so people could kind of see what potentially the project is going to look like. So that was kind of fun, and I anticipate that design process is going to speed up now that we're mostly through the summer. Miscellaneous, Books and Brews was awesome. It was so much fun. I had such a good time. I want to say, had around 100-ish people here. Thank you to Dang and to Logan for coming. I thought it was really fun. The food was really good. The beer was good. Silent auction did well. I don't have final numbers from the Friends yet about the fundraising aspect of it, but I think it is definitely something that people would come back to and that they are planning to do again next year. The plan, I think, is to move it to October for Banned Books Week, and then maybe do it annually. So that was fantastic. And Tegan and I were on a trivia team that came in fourth. I thought it was going to be literary trivia, and I thought for sure the library team is going to get fired if we don't ace that, but it was not literary based, and I was kind of relieved. It was really good. And then Touch a Truck is coming up on the 28th, and we're just going to do the best that we can with the road closure. We'll see how that goes. So yeah, that's everything from me.
All right. Final item on the agenda is announcements. If anyone has anything that they need to share or want to share, we can do that. Otherwise, we will just announce that our next meeting is Wednesday, August 19th, starting at 5:30. Hopefully, the president gets here on time. And with that, we'll call for a motion for adjournment, which is always amazes me that nobody jumps on that.
I make a motion.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dang.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, you two, joining us.
Excellent, thank you.
All right.